Hello everyone, it's Tom here, and today we're going to be doing a complete tutorial on Mai Finance, looking at all the ins and outs and hopefully covering all the information you need to know about the platform. If you don't know already, Mai Finance is quite a big player on Polygon. I'm really interested in the project and I think it's going to be a massive building block on the Polygon network going forward. If you're new to the channel, basically I'm kind of covering DeFi recently, but actually my channel is a bit broader than that. We're just covering anything to do with cryptocurrency, whether that's gaming or news or different coins or different DeFi networks, all that kind of thing. So without further ado, let's crack on. Okay, I just wanted to give a few words on Polygon for anyone who's new. So Polygon is what's called a layer 2 solution, which runs alongside the Ethereum blockchain. Now what this does is it uses something called a commit chain, which allows us to use cheaper transactions and therefore opening up a range of possibilities to developers and users. So instead of these expensive Ethereum transactions, which you might find on Ethereum DeFi, which is a big barrier of entry to a lot of people, we've got basically zero cost transactions for DeFi on Polygon. So that's what makes it such an exciting project. So one of these projects, and the one we're going to be looking at today, is QiDAO, and this is where the possibilities open up. So QiDAO is a stablecoin minting platform, which is native to Polygon. And what you can do here is what it says here basically. You can borrow a stablecoin, which is called Mai, at 0% interest without selling your collateral, which is Matic in this case. So QiDAO is a very well established platform which has been around for several months now. They also have a blog over here at 0xloudz.medium where you can learn more about the project and the latest updates. It's something we'll be covering in future videos and ones that I've done in previous videos if you'd like to take a look. Taking a look on YouTube as well, they also have a channel under the title LoudZ, going with the Taoist theme. Have a number of videos and interviews with different people in DeFi. It's definitely worth a listen if you are trying to understand more about the decentralized finance space. Some of their partnerships include a big partnership with AAVE. AAVE is another lending platform which originally came from Ethereum, but it's now operating on Polygon for several months now. We'll also talk about how these two platforms interact later in the video. Another platform is also Balancer, which is also a well-established platform on Ethereum, which is now operating on Polygon now. This platform lets you stake multiple tokens in a liquidity pool, but we'll go over these things in detail later, or you can check some of my previous videos. So you may ask, why do we have this Mai token? Why are we not just borrowing US dollar T or US dollar C? And the key is with the collateral. Okay, so Mai is backed by Matic. So basically, Mai holders or people who are using Mai are showing that they wish to keep their Matic collateral and build upon that. So showing that they believe in the ecosystem. So that's why I believe this project is going to be a huge building block for Polygon. So I just want to go over how this differs from traditional finance. So instead of having to get a credit check or get approval when you have to go to the bank and ask for a loan and wait for a reply, you don't need to do any of that. You just need to buy some Matic, deposit on here, and then you can loan. You don't need to ask anyone's permission. Also, you'll pay 0% interest and you can pay back anytime you want, which is completely unheard of in traditional finance. So this opens up a lot of opportunities. Maybe you can move some of your loans which you're paying interest on and buy some Matic token instead, and then pay 0 interest and use the stablecoin to pay your existing loans. We'll talk a little bit about the tokenomics later, but the function of the loan, you can only borrow up to 2/3 of your collateral. So say you deposit $90 worth of Matic, then you can only borrow $60. We'll talk a little bit about rewards when we talk about farming later. Another big point is it's a community run project. So it's what we call a decentralized autonomous organization. So when you join Polygon or Mai Finance more specifically, you become part of a community. And when you join Mai Finance and you're holding the Mai token, the Qi token, which is the governance token. You become part of the community here, which means you have voting rights on how the platform changes. In the future, the platform is going to become more and more run by its members. So I believe this is going to be a massive thing in the future in crypto. Decentralized autonomous organization, DAOs, is going to be huge. And that's great because then the users can help to shape the platform. The people who are using it, who can see the problems, who can see what's working well, are going to help shape the policy. So if you're interested in joining the community, make sure you scroll down to the bottom of the page here. I'll leave a link in the description below. We've got a link to the Discord here, Twitter, and check out the Medium page as well. They have lots of updates on the latest things going on. Balance that we talked about in my video yesterday or day before. Also check out the YouTube as well. We've also got some podcasts on here. Really interesting. They've got some kind of key players on Polygon and DeFi in general. You can learn a bit more about the space in general. Okay, so you may be asking how all this works. So if you come down to the bottom of the page and you click on docs, you will get the official CHIDA documentation where it just goes over some of the things I've been talking about as zero interest crypto lending, which gives you the ability to keep your collateral if you want to hold that, and also be able to spend its value. It gives an example here of somebody who wants to keep the collateral because he believes in the long-term appreciating value, but he wants to be able to spend the value. So let's look, how does this stablecoin work? How is it going to keep its value? Because that's one of the biggest questions on DeFi at the moment. There's been a number of failed platforms, so let's take a look at that. Okay, so let's take a look in more detail. So what is Mai, previously known as Matic? It changed recently due to a governance decision. So Mai is a stablecoin backed by locked collateral tokens. These tokens are over collateralized. So what that means is the collateral is more than the stablecoin. So there is more Matic being held in the vaults than there is minted stablecoin. This is a really key important point for the confidence of the stablecoin remaining at the peg. So how are these stablecoins created? So basically what you do is you deposit Matic in a vault, which we are going to go over next, and then you can mint the Mai in a nutshell basically. So over to the important part. Okay, so how is the peg maintained? Now this is a key feature for many of these stablecoin platforms. I'm going to talk more about the other ones later. But one of the first ones and the easiest ones is arbitrage. Okay, so if the Mai falls below 99 cents or rises above $1 basically, then users can engage in risk-free arbitrage. So what that means is on one exchange or on any exchange basically, if it's below 99 cents, then you can sell your other stable coins and buy this, and then when it rises you can sell that and buy that. I think it's quite self-explanatory really. The liquidation ratio is something I talked about earlier. So everybody who's depositing the collateral Matic needs to maintain 150% liquidation ratio, which is the 2/3 that we were talking about earlier. So it's backed by a solid token, okay, that people want to hold. That's a big part of it. Although this number can change, this 150%. So this 150% can change, and that is made, the decision made on that is by community proposals and voting. So we got the governance coming into this as well. So again here, the collateral token fluctuations, we're talking about the over collateralization, the 2/3 that we went over before, 150%. What happens if the collateral price changes? So if the collateral market price falls, the collateral to debt ratio will decrease, prompting users to either deposit more collateral or repay their token debt. So basically it's going to come closer to your 150% liquidation, and what that means is if it gets below here, then you are going to lose a part of your funds. You know, your loan has to be backed by something which is keeping its value. Okay, so this will force you to either pay off your Mai token debt. This should be updated to Mai actually, or otherwise it will force you to either deposit more Matic to increase your collateral ratio. So if a market price increases, then your collateral value is going to increase, and then the collateral to debt ratio will increase. It's a bit confusing between increase and decrease actually, and that means you will be able to borrow more. So say your collateral ratio is $90, right? And then you can borrow $60. If your collateral then double to $180, then you can borrow double, $120. Well, if your collateral ratio decrease to $60, then the amount you've loaned, you're either going to need to pay some of that back. So if we're at $60, then you can only lend $40, right? So then you're going to need to find $20 to repay, which was the collateral of 90 and the loan of 60. Or you're going to need to increase your collateral by about 30%. Okay, so how does the USDC swap? So the nice thing about the platform is if we go over to the website, we go to the swap tab, into the app.mai.finance, the actual application, then actually we've got an arbitrage tool here where we can swap for USDC, another stable coin, which is backed just by physical US dollars, I believe. And we can just do the arbitrage here. We don't need to visit any other exchange. Okay, so the swap will always offer a fixed rate. So for one US dollar C, you're always going to get 0.99 or above. And for one Matic. Okay, so this is the cool thing, right? So the USDC swap over here always maintains a floor of 0.99 in US dollar C, or a price ceiling of $1.01. So this means if the token price goes over, let's say 105, we've got an example here, then you can buy the Matic for 1.01 and then sell it on the market for 105, making a 4% risk-free gains. So the purpose of this USDC swap is to always ensure that the Matic or Mai USDC liquidity is at a price that is close to the peg always. So this is going to be your go-to thing if there is any big fluctuations in price. So your other options for that are going to an exchange such as QuickSwap, where you can also do that arbitrage on here, or you can sell the tokens which you bought on the market using the swap here. So I just wanted to look at some of the other ways in which the peg is maintained. One of the other things that we have is a debt ceiling. So a debt ceiling is the maximum amount of Mai which can be minted against a particular collateral type. In our case, we'll just talk about Matic. There will be further collateral types introduced, but we'll talk about that later. So basically there's a debt ceiling which is only increased gradually. So that means that a lot of we'll talk about these economic risks. This is talking about a hyper borrowing event where a massive amount of Mai tokens are minted, and some things which has happened to other platforms as well. So this prevents this. So in order to prevent the hyper borrowing event, QDAO protocol will set debt ceilings, which will continue to increase with the size of the network. Users will be encouraged to keep a total of Mai borrowed near the ceiling to prevent large sums of Mai from being borrowed at once. So they want people to just keep borrowing, trying to get to the limit, and then once the limit is reached, then maybe they will grow it depending on the amount of collateral deposited on the platform and in the ecosystem in general. So if large amounts of Mai enter the market and lower the price, the community can use the swap to arbitrage. Now another thing which does concern me is if the price goes down from peg. Okay, so then you've only got the if it goes up, we've got the debt ceiling, but if it goes down, then we only have the arbitrage. But we also have the fact that if it keeps going down, then more people are likely to pay back their debts, because if the value of the stablecoin is going down, then of course you're going to want to pay back your debt if it's worth less. So in effect, if you are paying back your loan, if the price dips below the peg value, hopefully this should create a buying pressure on the token, raising the price. So all in all, definitely do your own research on this. I'm just highlighting the key aspects, what I can see how the token will hold its peg. But of course, like this platform and some other platforms that we'll look at later in this video, there are risks that you have to take into account, and possibly, it could fall off peg, but hopefully these measures will mean that it won't. So as always, I'm just summarizing the key aspects, what I can read here on the docs and what my understanding is. But always, you must make sure that you do your own research and understand that with this platform, like many other applications on DeFi, there are inherent risks, and it's not guaranteed that these functions will work. So as always, it's very important to make sure you don't put on more money than you can afford to lose. And this rule applies to all kinds of DeFi platforms and cryptocurrency in general. Okay, so before we get started with the vaults and how to get on there, how do we get fiat money over there? So I'm going to explain an easy way, and I'm also going to explain what I think is the most capital efficient way. Depending on how much money you're putting in, you'll have to check out the different fees yourself. So the way which I do it, which I'm going to explain to you, is something which I've covered in a previous video, which I will put a link in the description below, but I'm just going to try to explain it really briefly. So using Binance, I'm sure many of you use this if you're into cryptocurrency. First of all, you can just buy cryptocurrency. Usually I will use P2P. You also got the options of credit and debit card, MasterCard deposit, Visa deposit, etc. Usually I will just use P2P. And with this method, you need to buy US dollar tether. So we can put in the amount here, and I will go for Hong Kong dollars. So I want 5,000 Hong Kong dollars, and then I will find a trader here, this one in person, or this one using like the Hong Kong banking transfer system. Every country is going to be different. And then just buy USDT. And then I will put in an order here. Fairly self-explanatory. So once you are into this page, you can then put 5,000 and you will receive 642 US dollar tether. And then you can click buy and you just go through with the payment. I'm not going to be able to do that now. Another way to do it is to buy directly with your credit and debit card. So you can put in your amount here and then just follow the process here, but there usually is a charge on this, and usually it's a significant charge, it's a few percent. Once you have got your US dollar tether, I'm going to explain why it's important to have US dollar tether. You can go to your spot account, search US dollar tether, go to withdraw, and then this is where we are going to use two exchanges to do this. So the other exchange we're going to be using is AscendEX. So I'm a big fan of this exchange. It's got a lot of withdrawals on several different chains. And the reason we'll be using the AscendEX Exchange is because AscendEX offers Polygon Matic network withdrawals. We can see we can choose Matic from these options here, and we get a fee of 2 Matic, which is really cheap. So currently on Binance, Polygon is not offering Matic on-chain, Polygon on-chain withdrawals yet, although they are allowing deposits. If we take a look at the deposit on Polygon Matic, we have got the Matic option. So this hopefully should be made much simpler once Binance offer Polygon withdrawals. But actually, I'm quite a fan of AscendEX, and I will probably continue to use this anyway. Depends on the fees. Also on AscendEX, you can avoid the whole Binance step by just making a payment on here using your bank card. So we'll use Fiat US dollar as an example. If you're doing that on AscendEX, then I recommend buying USDC instead. Unfortunately, we haven't got the option to buy Matic directly on here, so probably you are going to want to buy USDT or USDC. And then we have a fee of about 2%. I think it's going to be similar if you buy with a credit card basically anywhere on Binance or any other options, or on the other option we'll look at in a moment. So if you do decide to use Binance to buy your US dollar tether, then you are going to need to send your US dollar tether to AcendEX. So make sure you use the TRC20, is the cheapest network for sending US dollar tether. So if we copy this address here and bring it over to Binance and paste, and it will automatically recognize it's the Tron network, and then we are only going to need to pay $1 US. So if we type $10, we are going to get a 1 USDT network fee included. Then obviously you'll need to deposit using, make sure you select double check that you're using the right network, the Tron network. And then what you will need to do is then come onto trade, standard. Then you will need to come into the search bar here and search Matic and trade your Matic for USDT. So if you come down here, you can make a limit order, or you can pick one of the cells in the order book, click here, and it will select the price down here. And then you can choose how much of your USDT you wish to buy, and then click buy Matic. And then your order should appear at the bottom. So let's do that now. So if we pick this sell order, choose 100%, click buy, and it appears here, and it should settle instantly. Then what we need to do next is go to our cash account. Then we need to search Matic and click withdraw, and then make sure we select the Matic network. Now we are going to need to paste the address of our MetaMask wallet. So if we go to our browser, you need to install MetaMask. You need to make sure you write down a 12-word passphrase, and then you also need to add the Matic RPC. So in this case, I'm using one called Matic Superfluid. There's a whole bunch. We will talk about that later in the video. So what you want to do is click up here. It won't have it by default. Come down to Custom RPC, and it will give you a list of details. Now these details you can find on docs.matic.network, or if you just Google Matic RPC, if you scroll down here, has all the details for the Matic mainnet RPC. There are a whole bunch of other ones. We're going to talk about that later in the video. And then once you have that, then you should have an option called Matic mainnet. So once you are connected to the mainnet, then you need to go down here and click to copy your address here. So then you need to paste your address here, input the amount, and then you can withdraw. Unfortunately, this is suspended right now, but it should be back up soon. They just got a few issues with the exchange right now. So it's a little bit complicated, but I think this is the best way. I think it's the cheapest way to do it. If you're interested in using my referral links, I will leave them in the description below for Binance and AscendEX. I really appreciate that. It helps support my channel. Okay, perhaps an easier way to do it just directly is come to transact.com. As always, I'll leave the links in the description. transac.com, and then you can choose your currency. Let's try Hong Kong dollar. We can use card payment here, but other countries have different options. And then if we choose the currency here, we can choose by network, which is great. They're hosting a whole bunch here. Go to Matic network. You can choose all of these tokens which are on the Matic network. Unfortunately, they don't have Chi or Mai yet, so hopefully we will get that on there soon. We can choose Polygon, then we can just input the amount. So let's say 1,000 Hong Kong dollar, and then we'll get a fee of 50 Hong Kong dollar, which is about £5 or $6 US, something around that. So once you've gone through that screen, then you can input your wallet address. It's just the same as your MetaMask address here. You can copy that here, paste it here. We also got the option to connect our wallet, so we can just connect it directly. And connect there. Yeah, and then we can buy, and it will go straight to our wallet. So that's a really nice feature. Okay, so both of these methods are avoiding the Ethereum network. That is the aim of both these methods. That's why we are saving quite a lot in transaction fees, and that's why we are on Polygon in general. Okay, so the third option is to use wallet. Third or fourth option is to use wallet.matic.network. Now this is what's called a bridge. So this is a application for bridging from the Ethereum chain to a Polygon chain. So we can change an ERC20 token into a Polygon friendly token. So we've got the options to choose from Ethereum. We should have Matic in here as well. So basically what we would do is we would send Ethereum here. We'll put in the amount here. We need to connect our wallet using the Ethereum mainnet RPC. So one important thing to note is that your address here is the same address for Ethereum and Polygon. So this is how it works as a layer 2 solution, actually share the same address. So what we would do is we would connect to the Ethereum mainnet here, and then our balance would appear here. We could input the amount of Ethereum we want to go to Polygon, and then we'll click switch, and then we would have to go through 2 transactions. So this video is just going to briefly explain how to do it. It's not actually my own video. So here, for example, he is choosing Matic token as an ERC20 token, and he's moving it over to the Polygon. And it says 2 transactions. Here we got the transaction fee of $30.61. And you would have to confirm that and have to pay $30 in Ethereum if the gas rate was at this rate. So what you would first have to do is you would first have to approve your signature for the wallet, and I believe that would cost you an Ethereum transaction. And then you will have to confirm the bridging, which will also cost you an Ethereum transaction. So once you've done that once and you've got your funds in Polygon, then that's it. You won't have to pay any more Ethereum transactions, but you will have to pay 2 on the way. So even a $30 fee, I mean, that is going to be quite a lot compared to using the method that I've showed you before, depending on how much you go with. If you went with Transact, depends how much you did. If you're a big player, then perhaps this makes more sense than Transact. It depends what combination you use, but I think with Polygon, it's all about using it's all about the smaller players. Okay, so now we have some Matic in our wallet. I've got 9 Matic here in my wallet, just for an example. Let's open the app and we'll learn how to use the vaults. So here we are given a choice of Matic, AMW Matic, and in the future we will have BTC and Link by the looks of it, and other collateral. Okay, so to create a vault you need to click create, and then you will get a transaction fee, very low. This is 0.0021 of Matic, and bearing in mind that Matic is $1 or around that level, so it's a very small amount compared to $1. Then we can just click confirm, and then what we should get is a vault, which I have here, which is vault number 431, which is viewable by anybody. And then we'll have these options: deposit, withdraw, borrow, and repay. So fairly self-explanatory. And we can see that I've got a balance of 9 Matic, so we're going to go ahead and deposit that. And then we can confirm. We can see the total amount is 9 Matic plus a transaction fee. Okay, that's finished, and we can see I've got a collateral of 9 Matic here with my collateral value of almost $10. And now we are able to withdraw, so we can withdraw that if we wanted to. We are also able to borrow. So let's check. The maximum amount we are able to borrow is 6.6. So again, talking about the 150% collateral to borrow ratio. We've got it maxed out here, so it says 150%, and we've got a kind of slider to tell us riskier and safer options. So I'm going to go ahead and borrow, let's borrow $3. So hit in free and borrow Mai, and I'm just going to pump the gas price up a bit. This will increase the cost. We can see it reflected here, but it means the transaction will be a little bit faster. It has been kind of some issues with the network. It's been a bit slow recently, so feel free to push up the gas if you find it is a little bit slow. It kind of varies depending on what time of the day. Confirm. So once that is done, our debt value should come up as $3. And there we go, we've got our $3 collateral to debt ratio of 330%, and that's how to do the vaults. Now say that the price of Matic did fall significantly below peg, then we would have the option to repay here, or if you just wanted to repay anyway. So now if you go to your MetaMask, you should be able to see free Matic in your wallet. And if we come down here to repay, we have the option to repay our loan. So we can put in free Matic and click repay. And then actually, when we are choosing the GUI, actually we have an indicator here, which I think is telling us the average gas price on Polygon. So it's suggesting something like 8 or 6, and that's changing from time to time. So I'm just going to reject that because I don't want to repay that. So that's how to do vaults basically. And then you can take your Matic, and then you can use your Matic here on the swap to do some arbitrage, or you could come over to QuickSwap and choose your Matic here and swap for any other kind of tokens that you'd like. Okay, so now if you go to the vaults page, you will see you've got a vault on here. I also have a vault on here, number 4721, which I've borrowed 75 Mai on. Because Mai has recently changed from Matic, you may find that some platforms have it listed as Matic and some platforms have it listed as Mai. Hopefully in the future, all of the platforms will have it listed as Mai. So how does it work with liquidations? Let's take a look at that. So what are liquidations? Liquidation is a process of selling collateral and repaying debt to make sure that there is enough collateral backing the Matic vault. So liquidations may occur when some or all of the collateral in the vault is sold by someone other than the owner of the collateral to cover costs of repaying the vault's debt. So basically, if your collateral goes down in value and you're not able to add collateral or pay off your loan, then you may experience a liquidation, which means you are going to lose a portion of your collateral. So this is defined currently as a ratio of 150% for Matic vaults. And then basically what happened is some of your collateral will be taken to repay back your loan. Okay, so how does this work? Okay, so Mai Finance has a partial liquidation policy, which is a little bit different to some other platforms. So just looking at this kind of infographic, so here we've got the debt and the collateral which is backed by, and the price which the collateral, if it falls below, then will become liquidated. So here we can see the collateral value falls, it falls below the liquidation value. And then what happens is the stability pool repays some debt and then recovers some of that amount by taking some collateral plus a 10% fee. So what happens is you will lose some of your collateral, and then your debt will be paid back using that collateral, and then also a 10% fee will be taken as well. And then your vault will be returned in a safe state. So probably you're going to lose like 50% of your collateral, and then you will just end up with a vault without any debt. Then you will end up with a vault with a reduced debt and also a reduced collateral. So I'm not going to take absolutely everything. So this is a key principle to keep in, why this exists is a key principle to keep in the value of the stable coins minted on the platform. So the other cool thing about this platform is if you go to the monitor tab, we can monitor all the different vaults, and we can filter this by the collateral ratio to the debt, and we can see what that is as a percentage. So we can kind of try to snipe a vault once one falls below 150%. If you have the what you're going to need is the Matic or the Mai to buy to liquidate the vault. So first of all, you're going to need that, and then what you can do is click on this vault. Now once this vault appears below 150%, then I believe, I've not done it before, but I'm going to try to do it. Maybe I'll liquidate my own vault as an example if I'm quick enough. A button should appear here giving you the option to liquidate the vault. If you have enough Matic or Mai, then you can do that, and then you can gain that 10% penalty fee. So that's just a brief explanation of it. You can come to the liquidation page on the docs and read this in a little bit more detail. Okay, so now we've finished with vaults. I've finished explaining that. We'll go over Matic hopefully later in the video. We're going to go into farming. Okay, so if we go to rewards, I'm going to introduce farming to you guys. So we've got two pools on here. We've got Mai USDC, which is a QuickSwap based liquidity pool paying just about 30% APR. This is the interest we are getting. And we've also got something called TVL, which is the total value locked. So this is the total amount which has been deposited on here, which is 75 million. The TVL gives us some kind of gauge as to how safe a project is, how much kind of people believe in it. If there's a lot of money in it, then there's obviously a lot of support for the project. A lot of people feel it's safe enough to put their money in there. Okay, and the other pool we have is Mai Chi, which is another QuickSwap based liquidity pool. So something, first of all, I've got a few things to introduce here. So Chi is the token price we can see here. We've also got the option here, if we click the fox, we can add it to our MetaMask here. So you can just click add token and it will add to your MetaMask. And then also the button here, we can click that and it will take us to slingshot.finance, which is a charting site. You can use this to chart tokens, and you can also use it to buy tokens on here. So we got buy and sell options. I'm not really going to talk too much about this. And they've got a whole bunch of coins on here. You can take a look yourselves. Also, you have the option to buy on QuickSwap. So we've got Chi listed here. So what is Chi? Chi is a governance token for Mai Finance. Okay, so it's kind of like the community token, and it's also a token which is going to be used in one of the liquidity pools here. So I'm going to try and summarize what a liquidity pool is in just a few lines. So a liquidity pool is where you pull two tokens together, and it's a fundamental part of a decentralized exchange. Okay, so when you are providing these two tokens, it means that you're providing the liquidity to a decentralized exchange, and therefore you are getting part of the trading fees on that exchange. An example of that would be a QuickSwap interface. We also have a rewards section on here where we have a bunch of liquidity pools. So this allows us to use the swap. Okay, this allows users to swap tokens without a need for a centralized authority. So depending on how many tokens are in a liquidity pool, it depends on our ability to buy tokens. So a lack of liquidity is going to result in something which is called slippage. Now, if we go, just for a quick swap for an example, if we go into the top right hand corner and click this cog here, we've got something called slippage tolerance. Now, you can just think of this about the kind of divergence in the price that you wish to buy the token. Okay. Now, some of the tokens with low liquidity are going to require a higher slippage. So I'm not going to go too much into detail about that. That's just the basics on it. So platforms like Mai Finance and other farms, and how it works basically is you get a portion of the trading percentage, like when we are doing swaps here, when it's charged a fee. So if we want to swap Matic for Chi, we will see that there is a liquidity provider fee of 0.0001183 Matic, and then the liquidity providers will receive a part of that fee. But how farms work is they will also mint a token and they will give that to you as a reward for being in a liquidity pool. So in this case with Mai Finance, we are earning the Chi token, which is the governance token. If we have an LP staked here, it will appear just here next to LP staked, and we will be earning the Chi. So let's go ahead and show you how to do that. Okay, so first of all, we need equal amounts of these two tokens to get into this liquidity pool. So I've already minted some Mai, so let's go for some Chi. Okay, so actually we can mint the Mai on the platform, or we can just buy it, or we can earn the Chi, or we can just buy from the market. So I have some USDC and I'm going to trade $3 worth for Chi. We'll click swap and we're going to receive 2 Chi. If it's the first time you've done this, you will need to approve the swap before and then confirm that transaction. And then we are going to go ahead and confirm that swap. And then we've got the gas fee here, again quite small. I'm going to increase the gas price to about 4, try and get it to go through quicker. Okay, so now that's complete, we should see swap 3 USDC for 2 Chi. And then we can go over to pool, which is where we can create a liquidity pool. And then what we need to do is add liquidity. And we want our Matic or Mai. And then we also want our Chi token. And then we can click max on either of these and it will tell us the 50-50 ratio. So here we've got basically a perfect ratio because we swapped like $3 for the Chi and we have 3 Matic being a stable coin. And then you may need to approve this if it's the first time you've done this. I've done this already, so I'm just going to click supply and then confirm. And then I'll up the gas rate to about 3 and confirm. And I'll wait for that to complete. And now that's complete, we should have 3 Matic and 2 Chi. And it should appear below here. So now we've got what's called a liquidity pool token. And now what we want to do is come back to Mai Finance. And then we can click on the Mai Chi Quick Swap LP. And we'll have to approve this. And we just need to sign this and confirm. And then once this is confirmed, then we should have an option to deposit. Okay, now that's done, we have the option to deposit and withdraw. We're going to click deposit and we can see we've got our liquidity pool tokens here. And also note there is a 0.5 deposit fee which is applied when you're depositing on here. So we'll just confirm that here and then confirm here. So I'll just confirm this and then bring our gas price up a bit and confirm. And then once that's done, your liquidity pool stake should appear here. And we can see we've got LP stakes here and we can start earning the Chi, which should be around 1% a day, which is fantastic gains. So first of all, half a day we will need to just pay back our 0.5% fee that we paid. So the really exciting thing about the platform in the future, if we click this show inactive pools, Mai is going to have its own single staking pool, and I think the rewards are going to be quite juicy. So I think that is going to absolutely turbocharge the platform. I'm very excited about our new feature in the future. So this is going to make a massive use case for holding the Mai token. Okay, so I just wanted to talk a little bit about how some other platforms interact with Mai Finance. So as you're earning your Chi here, you will need to harvest it, and then you can split some into Mai and then build your liquidity pool, or you can just deposit some more Matic and then pair it with Mai, which you have minted. There's various different strategies available. One of the websites which I'm a big fan of as well is Adamant Finance, which is what's called a yield aggregator. So what Adamant does is it helps you maximize your yields, as it says here. It will help you auto compound. So instead of having to come here and harvest manually and then go back to QuickSwap and keep adding to your liquidity pool token, the same process that we've just been through, it will automatically compound your pool. So if we type in here Mai, we have a number of options. We have a stablecoin pool, and we can see it's paying 68.86% APR. Where on here we've just got the 29.20 APR. We're getting extra benefit from depositing on here. If we hover over here, you'll see all the breakdown of all the rewards. Part of that is given in the Adamant platform token, but part of that is going to come across by the auto compounding feature on here. So I think we'll go over this in more detail in another video. You can do your own research on this, take a look, see what you think, but I'm a big fan. I've got quite a decent pool on Mai on here, and I'm earning both the Adamant tokens and compounding my pool on here too. Another platform which has integration with Mai Finance, which I'm also a very big fan of, is AAVE. So AAVE is also a lending platform as well. So you might ask yourself, why would they have interaction even though they are kind of competitors perhaps? But I think these two projects working together is absolutely massive, and I think all these projects adding to each other can only benefit the ecosystem. The platform is a big one. We can see by the TVL, which is displayed here, which we were talking about before, TVL. So we've got 16 billion TVL, 16 billion US dollars invested in it. So obviously a lot of people believe in this project and support it. So let's enter the app. So I'm just going to try and summarize this quickly as well. So AAVE basically offers lending as well. We can see my collateral on the left with wrapped BTC, wrapped ETH, and Matic, which I deposited here. And I'm also loaning US dollar Tether. But the thing which differs is that you are paying interest. So I'm paying an interest of 3.84. But we are also getting some rewards here. You can see the 3.12 APR. Notice the difference between APY and APR is a difference. But then also notice that unlike Mai Finance, I'm getting paid interest to deposit my Matic. On here where you can see I'm getting almost 2% in APY, which is compounded interest. And then I'm getting 3% in bonus APR. So I was getting about around 5% APR, about 5% a year. These rewards are temporary. I think they will last till next summer, but they're not going to be forever. So that's when platforms like Mai Finance, where there's 0% loans, are going to come into their own. But of course, AAVE is going to continue to be a big player. So how do these two platforms interact? Let's take a look. So if we go over to the app.mai.finance, which we were on before, if we go over to yield, now what Mai Finance is offering is like a yield aggregator as well, similar to what Adamant is offering us to our liquidity pools on Mai Finance. So what we can do here is we can deposit our AAVE staked tokens, okay? So we got a number of options here: USDC, DAI, wrapped ETH, US dollar Tether, and wrapped Matic. And so these are all the different kinds of collateral types on AAVE. So how it works is on AAVE you can have a deposit in Matic, like I have here, earning interest. And then on Mai Finance we can come over to here. So then on Mai Finance we can come over to here. We can deposit a token which represents our Matic, which we have deposited as collateral here. Now normally the rewards which you get on AAVE you need to claim in the top right hand corner. As you can see here, we've got this manual claim button. I've just claimed mine not long ago, so it hasn't really built up here, and you can just click claim. So depending on what you want to do, maybe you want to, maybe many people, they will just take the rewards and then just compound their collateral. And then hopefully this should balance out the interest you're paying on your loan. But what Mai Finance offers is you can deposit. If we click deposit here, I've got the option of a token, which represents the deposits here, like I was talking about. So we can see this worth 16,000. If we go back to AAVE, we can see the value down here, 16,000. So we have access to that. Now, one thing to mention is, instead of the ratio like on Mai Finance, we have something called loan to value ratio, LTV. So it's kind of different. It's a different way to represent the collateral ratio. Okay, so if we click details, we can see what the liquidation threshold is here at the maximum LTV. So of course this number is similarly to Mai Finance, is going to be affected. So if I reduce my collateral, then my LTV will go up. So then I'm closer to liquidation if I reduce collateral, just like if your collateral value went down, like we discussed in the liquidation section. So what I can do is I can deposit 1000 AMRAP Matic here. Okay, so what we can do is we just see that my Matic balance on here is almost 15k, so 14,944. So we can just come over to here and we can deposit, and we can see that our balance here 14,944. And I'm going to deposit 1000, and we've got a 0% deposit fee. We can just click confirm. I'm going to up the gas to 6. Okay, and now we can see we've got 1000 AMW Matic token locked here. And now we can also see this updated. So our deposited value is $1,090, and we are getting the APY of 5%. And so now this will just auto compound, okay? Now in the not too distant future, we are going to be able to mint stablecoins based on this token on our AMW wrap Matic. So that is the token which we have deposited here. We will be able to loan stablecoins against it. So you might be asking, oh, so can we deposit here and then loan against it, and then also deposit on Mai Finance and also loan against it? No, because if we look on AAVE, actually our deposit, if you remember, it's at 14,944, has now been reduced by 1,000, and it's now at 13,944. I mean, the maximum you can loan a stablecoin against Matic is 50%, but then if you could loan over 50%, let's say you could loan 60% on Mai Finance, and you try to loan on both platforms, and then you could get like 110%, and then you've got the money, you don't need to repay, you've borrowed more than your collateral, so that just wouldn't make any sense. So that's how it works. Hope you understand that. I mean, there's maybe a few things I've missed out, but generally just that's how it's working between AAVE and Mai Finance. And this is a massive partnership because the amount of LTV on here and the liquidity is just huge, and so this bodes really well for the future of Mai Finance and Polygon in general. So if we want to withdraw, it's just similar process. Just click withdraw, go to maximum, click confirm, and then we can up the GUI a bit and confirm a transaction here. And then our tokens will be reduced here, and we should see it reflected here. We should see this our collateral increase here by 1,000. And as we can see now, our collateral has increased by 1,000. So, and there's no deposit fee to do that. So it's a very good feature. You're able to keep your Matic here, and then also compound it here. And then in the future, we are going to be able to loan against it. So it's great functionality. I love it. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about Mai Finance, Mai, and different kinds of stable coins, and we can do a little bit of comparisons. So there's 5 different kinds of stable coins, at least that I'm aware of. Okay, so the first one that I wanted to take a look at is called an algorithmic stable coin. Now, an algorithmic stable coin is a on-chain coin, which means that everything that is based on, collateral-wise, stablecoin-wise, is on-chain. It's done using smart contracts and is decentralized. Now, one of the things which differs with algorithmic stablecoins is they're not backed by any kind of collateral, and they use algorithms, as named, to reduce and increase the supply. And this is a kind of balancing method which they use. So if the token price goes above the peg, then they can increase the supply and theoretically reduce the value of the stablecoin. Or if the stablecoin goes below peg, then they can decrease the supply. So it's a kind of supply-demand system. They also rely on arbitrage as well of users. Although this method is completely reliant on users or traders. An example of this would be AmFaucet. It's a current example which is functioning now. A previous example was if you are using the Binance Smart Chain, would be $. Okay, so the next kind of stablecoin that we are going to look at is what's called what I would call a crypto over-collateralized stablecoin. So what is a crypto over-collateralized stablecoin? So this coin is on-chain, it's using smart contracts, and it's also decentralized. But instead of having no collateral like the previous algorithmic stablecoin we looked at, it's over-collateralized. So that means that there's more collateral, more assets behind the stablecoin backing it than there are stablecoins in existence. So to balance this stablecoin, it uses is strongly reliant on the collateral behind it, of course, for people to trust the value of it. It's an important aspect of it. But also it uses arbitrage of the users, traders, and also they use a system of debt ceilings. So it's something we talked about earlier on in this video. So the amount of stablecoins which are able to be minted, there is a limit which will then be raised once enough stablecoins are minted and it gets close to that ceiling. So you've got this control over how many could be minted, which again was talking about supply and demand. If there is too many minted, then you could face theoretically in the value going down. Another incentive is the users of a platform for the stablecoin who are taking loans are then incentivized if the price goes under peg to pay back their loans, as their loans will then become cheaper. So some examples of this are QiDAO and MakerDAO, both which feature all these features that we've just discussed. Okay, so the third kind of stablecoin we're going to talk about is one that you may be very familiar with, especially if you've been in cryptocurrency for a little while, is a fiat-backed stablecoin. So this stablecoin is backed by off-chain collateral and it's centralized. So instead of having no collateral or being over-collateralized, it has just a one-to-one collateral. So the idea is that it will be backed one-to-one with fiat. So there would be a fiat $1 for every one digital crypto dollar. So in this system, there is no need to balance because the collateral is perfectly balanced with the stablecoin. Okay, the problem with this system is that trust is key. You could say it's a problem. It's a feature of this, but trust is very important. And some of the examples of that are US dollar Tether and US dollar C. US dollar C is provided by Coinbase. And if you've been reading the news recently, there has been a lot of hoo-ha about US dollar tether. It's been a kind of very long running story about whether this collateral is actually backed one-to-one with fiat. And recently, actually, it's been found that it wasn't backed one-to-one with fiat, but with a variety of different assets, some which are questionable in value. Okay, so the fourth kind of stablecoin we're going to talk about is one which is not so common, one that you might not have come across yet, is a commodity-backed stablecoin. These are backed in a similar way to the fiat-backed stablecoins, but they are backed one-to-one with a commodity such as gold or silver or oil. So what happens with these is they are backed with a similar value. So say you have a bar of gold worth $1,000, then $1,000 worth of stablecoin will be minted against that $1,000 worth of asset. Again, like the fiat-backed stablecoins, these are off-chain and they are also centralized as well. One of the issues with this stablecoin, or perhaps one of the advantages, is that the collateral is subject to volatility. And one that could be said about the over-collateralized stablecoins as well. Again, similarly to fiat-backed stablecoins, trust is also key to this stablecoin. Users have to rely that the centralized authority holds the correct amount of backed assets. So some examples of this are Tether Gold and Paxos Gold. Okay, the fifth and last stablecoin, which I've left to last, as is one of the more difficult to understand systems. So that is partially collateralized stablecoins. Now, partially collateralized stablecoins are on-chain, decentralized, and use smart contracts. So we don't have any of that centralization or trust-based system. But what we do have is a system where the stablecoin is only partially collateralized by a asset, which is a cryptocurrency such as Bitcoin or Matic. The other half of the collateralization is backed by a volatile asset. The balancing system on a stablecoin like this is also shares a similar system with an algorithmic stablecoin, where algorithms are partially responsible for maintaining the peg of the coin. This kind of stablecoin is fairly complex, experimental, and often simply quite difficult to understand. So an example of this would be the recent infamous Mai Finance, where it used a volatile asset called Titan as part of the collateralization. So this kind of system has some advantages where it requires less collateralization, but it also shares some risks with algorithmic stable coins. The nature of this kind of stablecoin also means it's fairly experimental, and this carries with it any kind of associated risks. So that's a brief overview on the various different kinds of stablecoins and their features. So as we've previously mentioned, MakerDAO is the other alternative in over-collateralized stablecoin. And MakerDAO is based on Ethereum. It's a well-established project. If you're interested to learn more about DeFi projects, you can come over to DeFiPulse.com, where you can get some statistics and analysis. Just taking a look at MakerDAO on here, we can see that the total amount of funds which are locked in the platform, which is known as TVL, is around the 6.5 billion mark, down from 16 billion on May the 12th, 2021. And if we compare that to Mai Finance using the VFAT Tools application, this is a great website for checking out any information on liquidity pools on various different chains. Take a look on Mai Finance on there, we can see there is a total staked of 92 million. So the upside potential for Mai Finance is absolutely massive. If we compare this 29 million currently staked on Mai Finance to the total TVL of MakerDAO, which is at 6.5 billion. So as always with any platform, basically anywhere, or especially on DeFi, especially in cryptocurrency, there is risk attached. So let's take a quick look at that. So all the funds are controlled by the users that deposit them. So the only control over the vaults is just by the users. The project has been audited by Brahma Systems, and you can also view the report if you go into the documents here. As they are adding more features, those will get audited as well. So again, like we've discussed, the big risk as well is that the platform falls under peg, which is going to be a significant risk. And of course, we discussed what things stabilize that peg. We have the USDC swap, we have a debt ceiling, and we have the incentives for people to pay back their loans if it falls under debt. And we have the incentives of people to take out loans if it goes over, and then use the USDC swap to get an arbitrage. Taking a quick look at the audit, I'm not going to read over it in detail, but Brahma Systems was engaged to evaluate and identify potential security concerns within the code base of the Mai Finance protocol. During the course of the engagement, Brahma Systems found multiple instances wherein the team deviated materially from established best practices and procedures of secure software development within DLT. The team has since addressed these issues with a resolution or risk acceptance. So this was started in April of 2021, not so long ago, and a secondary audit was performed as well. To be honest, I've not heard of Brahma Systems, but it looks like quite a significant audit. I don't really feel like I have the knowledge to comment on that in detail though. I guess the other risk is if you are in the farms, then also you have the risk that the Chi token is going to reduce. That's something which should be addressed with a single staking pool. It will add value to it, and also you have the community which will back this token as well with its governance features. And that's just about it really. I mean, any DeFi project maybe has some unknown risks as well, so again, just make sure you do your own research and don't put in more than you can afford to lose. So another thing that you may find is when you're making transactions, perhaps you'll find that, especially if you're using a low GUI, but perhaps not using this suggested GUI, you may find that the transactions are rather slow. And even using this suggested GUI, you might find that the transactions are slow anyway. Okay, so what this can be sometimes is that the RPC is overloaded. So this is why it's good to have a number of RPCs here. I've got Matic Superfluid, Matic QuickNode.pro, and the Matic mainnet. So I'm just going to introduce you to two before I introduce you to the Matic mainnet RPC. So this one can end up a little bit clogged up. So the one I'm recommending is one Superfluid, and if you go down here, I'll leave the link in the description below. Then you can also find all the details for setting up your RPC, just similar to what I showed you before. So I'll explain it anyway. What you want to do is copy this address and go to your MetaMask, scroll down to your RPC, go to custom RPC. You can type the name Matic Superfluid or whatever you wish, and paste in the URL. And actually it's warning me I have this already. And then we need to put in the chain ID and the currency symbol, which is the main token on this chain, which will be Matic. And so we can add the block explorer URL, which is www.polygonscan.com. And then we can just click save and it will add it. So if there's a transaction which is not going through, then we can try changing our RPC, and then hopefully that will speed up the transaction. It will be less clogged up. By any means, this is not an exhaustive list. There's also many others to look at, but these are the ones I'm using, and to be honest, this is okay. So a quick word on Polygon Scan. Polygon Scan is the explorer, so we can copy any kind of transaction ID or copy our address in here, and we can take a look at all the different transactions we've done. We can also look at a specific coin like Polydoge. Can also get some information on the website. Can see how many holders there are. We can actually do some on-chain analysis. If we click holders, we can see that one address holds almost 20% of the tokens. So another thing that we can do is create our own custom RPC. So I'm not actually sure if it's actually recommended to use these, but nonetheless you should get a fast RPC if you use this with a very low load, and we can just give it a try. So I'm just going to sign up now. Okay, once we've logged in using our email address, type in the name of your choice and hit create app. So once we've created our application, which I've called Rain, I've got down here, you can click down here, and then we can use this Matic mainnet RPCL and copy this. And then we can go to our MetaMask wallet, and just the same process, we'll call it my Matic Vigil Rain, and then paste in the URL here, and then the chain ID is always 137. Currency symbol Matic, block explorer, www.polygonscan. And actually we need to make sure we put the block explorer URL as http // in front, otherwise it won't accept it. And then we can click save. And now we've created our own custom RPC, so we're switched on that. We can close this and we're ready to go. So hopefully this should be faster than the other ones. We'll give it a go. It's the first time for me to try. Okay, so I just wanted to go through also, if the worst came to worst and the platform went down, the UI wasn't available, and we needed to pay back our loan, maybe the token came off peg, we wanted to withdraw our collateral. We can actually do this through Polygon Scan by interacting with the contract directly, and I'm going to show you briefly how to do that. We're just going to cover the vault and how to pay back your loan and how to remove your collateral, and then hopefully in a future video I will feature how to remove your liquidity pool. So the first thing we want to do is search for Matic, which is the token. In this case, if we search the first result, we see we've got a token with 0 addresses, so we want the token with all the addresses. So if we choose the second option, we can see 2,512 addresses, and then we can see the contract which this is using. If we click this, then we are brought to the contract page. This is the contract for the minting of Matic, and we want to go to the contract tab, and next we want to go to write contract. And the first thing we want to do is connect to our Web3 wallet. So we click this, click MetaMask. Please notice the beta version feature is provided as is and as available. Yep, we'll accept this. And then we want to scroll down to the feature where we can pay back our loan. So that is payback token. And then we also want to use the feature of withdraw collateral. Now, something which is important to say is that we need to pay back the token first before we withdraw the collateral. This is a really important point. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is input our vault ID, which we can see here is vault 431. We may want to make a record of this number just in case we have to do this. So we input 431. And in here we need to put in the amount. So here I have a debt value of $3 of 3 Mai. So how this works is usually it needs to be a 20 characters in total. So I'll show you what I mean. Okay, this is how you do it. So usually we will put in 3 followed by 19 0. Okay, so we've got our 20 character number, but then we need to differentiate for the contract where the decimal point is. So if the decimal point is after the first number, we remove 1 digit. If the decimal point is after the second number, we would remove two digits. So if we were doing $30, then we would remove 2 digits. And then if we wanted to do $3.50, then we would start with 350, and then we would have 20 digits, and then we would remove 1 digit, just to let the contract know that the decimal point is just after the first digit, if that makes sense. It's a little bit complicated, but that's the way it is. So once we've done that, we'll click write, and then we can increase the gas price to about 5. Click confirm, and we'll wait for that to go through. And while we're waiting, we can click view your transaction. And here we should see it's loading if it went through successfully. If it didn't go through successfully, then just check you've got the right amount of digits. You might have to play around with that a little bit if you made some kind of error. And that's a success, as we can see here. And now if we go back to our vault and refresh the page, this $3 should appear as 0 and 0, we can see here. So that's how we interact with a contract directly. And now let's try to remove our collateral. So I'm just going to try to remove 8 as an example. So you must always make sure that you remove the debt before removing the collateral, because obviously if you try to remove the collateral first, that's going to cause some kind of issues. So it's a similar thing here. We've got number 13, withdraw collateral, and we are 431, and then we need 8, and we'll do 20 digits and then remove 1. 19 digits and remove 1. So I've got 20 digits and I'll remove 1 just to let the contract know there's a decimal point there. And then I will click write, up the gas to about 5 and confirm. And then we can view our transaction, and it should be a similar story. And now we should get a similar successful transaction page. And if we go back to the vault, we can see that our 8 was removed from the collateral. Okay, so that's just about how to interact with the contract directly. Okay, I hope you've enjoyed this video. If there's anything you've missed out, please leave a comment below, or come join us in the Telegram, or join the Mai Finance Discord or Telegram group as well. Plenty of nice guys in there in both and all these social medias. So if you've got any questions, come on there and ask. It's the same thing what I've been doing. So I hope I've rounded up sort of all my knowledge on this platform and all my understandings of it and some of my opinion. And I hope you're excited about this as much as I am, being a big kind of advocate for Polygon at the moment. So if you enjoyed the video, I really appreciate it if you leave a like, and any kind of comment is really good as well. And if you're into this kind of thing, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.